Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Modern and Modest, and shukran for tuning in and joining us on this amazing show. As always, we bring you the most inspirational guests, and with us today we have Sister Jamila Sayed. Assalamu alaikum, Jamila, and thank you so much for availing yourself to be a part of Modern and Modest today.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Shukran Noshina for having me on your program.
Alhamdulillah. So Jamila, before we actually get into why you've joined us today and what you're going to be sharing with our viewers, tell us a little bit more about what's behind Jamila Sayed. Where are you from? Just a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a self-taught home chef coming from Amzinto, that's on the south coast of Durban. I'm blessed with 3 children, alhamdulillah, and I have 3 beautiful grandkids as well. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've started off dressmaking as a business from a very young age. Thereafter, I moved on to opening my very own retail business, which I ran successfully for many years. Thereafter, I handed the business over to my son, my eldest son. And yes, that was the beginning of a new chapter in my life then.
Okay. So Jamila, we know that you're known for cooking the most tasty, should I say, most delicious meals, or more so, forget about taste and how amazing your meals are. I think you're known to come up with flop-proof recipes, and that's what we're going to be discussing today on our show. And you've been a young entrepreneur, having a business for 15 years and starting out as dressmaking. But you've chosen a different pathway, and you've chosen to go into the food journey. Maybe tell us how this started out for you, and how long have you been, has this been a part of you, or your new journey going forward?
Being on the cooking journey was something that I never really thought that I would be an author of a recipe book one day. But alhamdulillah, after staying at home, after working all those years, it gave me plenty time to indulge in cooking and baking, which we all love. Most women love being in the kitchen. So my sister had introduced me to a Facebook recipe group where I posted my meals that I made daily. And alhamdulillah, the response I received from the ladies was phenomenal. They enjoyed the simple and easy to follow recipes. And they couldn't believe that, doing simple things and putting simple things together could bring out such happy families.
So I guess in actual fact, when you cook your meals on a day-to-day basis, and if you're great or you're an expert at what you do you find that most of us take that for granted? Because for yourself, you would have taken that for granted. I mean, you come up with a fantastic recipe and you put it together and it's flop-proof and it's amazing. I guess we only realize what a strength that is, or the fact that you've been blessed with a certain talent once you actually get your recipes out and people comment or would give you feedback on it.
That is so true, Noshina. It's something that I didn't think about. I just, out of the passion of cooking and baking, made stuff, simple things, old recipes that I pulled out. And it brought out the passion in other people looking at my stuff. It inspired them to create these things and put it together. And I've been receiving feedback where people, the families are so happy just sitting on a table and having different stuff. And it's all things that I just brought out from the old recipe books and put together. And people really enjoyed it. I think the simple recipes also is what people look for. It's easy to follow methods and just easy things that you put together and make people happy.
So do you think you need to be rather passionate about cooking and baking in order for you to decide that I want to post a recipe on social media? Because if you look at social media now and where cooking and baking has gone to, it's all about food. People tend to share recipes, ideas and so forth. Is this just for anyone, or do you have to have this passion for cooking and baking?
I think when we look at simple recipes being put together and looking so good after it's presented, that inspires the other woman to say that, you know what, this is an easy recipe, why can't I make it as well? So cooking is not a chore anymore. Everybody's enjoying it as a passion and doing it out of the love.
And I guess you can be very creative now with cooking and baking.
Absolutely,
as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's all about just putting simple things together and being proud of yourself, and always stay positive in whatever you do.
All right, so we know that you've got introduced to social media, and that's where you started sharing recipes, or you've taken recipes from there. But When did it occur to you that you wanted to start out your own recipe book, and how long has it been since?
So after I posted my recipes on social media, the response that I got was phenomenal. I used to be inundated with queries and comments regarding the recipes, and people started enjoying being in the kitchen. So I used to be inundated with messages regarding how can I do this, give me a recipe for this, do that. So there was a public demand for my recipes to be put into a book, and that's how it all started.
Alhamdulillah. And how long has it been since you've launched your first recipe book?
Alhamdulillah, Cooking and Baking Creations Volume 1 was launched in 2016.
Okay.
And from then till now, Alhamdulillah, we have 4 volumes.
So you've been launching one book per year?
Gee, Alhamdulillah. In fact, the second volume was launched 6 months after Volume 1.
Okay.
So, gee, that was a real accomplishment for me.
All right. Let's talk about the 4 volumes that you've come up. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. How do the recipes differ? What type of recipes did you actually put into Volume 1?
Volume 1 is a very simple, basic book which is very, very popular until today. Volume 1 has a little bit of cakes, it has a little bit of biscuits, some desserts, some drinks, and some light meals. And there are a few main meals. So I think everybody likes the variety that you can take a book and you've got simple recipes that you can make when you have guests. You have your desserts, you have your drinks, you have your main meals. So that one's very popular, Alhamdulillah. The Volume 1 is still popular until today.
Okay. And your Volume 2, would that be, do you find that all your books have a bit of the sort of the starter, the main meal, dessert, drinks, or are they specific where one book specifically has baking and desserts?
Okay, so Volume 2 was compiled more to be a Ramadan edition.
Okay.
We've got some savories, we've got sweet treats, we've got milkshakes for iftar, we've got some soups. So that one's particularly more catered for Ramadan, the Volume 2. The Volume 3, Alhamdulillah, has all the daily, simple main meal recipes. It's got the chicken, it's got the fish, it's got steak, and also it has some rotis and naans.
Okay.
So that one's also very popular because I think more than cooking and baking, people love food. They love to cook food. The baking and desserts come afterwards. So Alhamdulillah, Volume 3 is also a very popular book.
Okay. When it comes to your recipe books, when you started out with Volume 1, Volume 2 and so forth, would you say that just about any person could pick up a book and follow the recipe and it would be flop proof, or do you find that these books have like a beginner, an intermediate and then an advanced chef? I mean, how do your books work? Is it for anybody?
The books are for anybody. You can pick up any volume and you will be sure to find something that's so simple to make up and it's flop proof. So you can take any book and make anything. There's no stages or there's nothing difficult in any of the books. Everything's simple and easy to follow.
All right, so now we mentioned flop proof, and I know that you popular or known for flop proof recipes. Was this by any chance a challenge for you where you've had to try a recipe a few times in order to get it 100% flop proof before you decided to put it into a book?
Alhamdulillah, I think I'm blessed in that way. Most of the recipes that I tried the first time, most of them, they come out perfect. Very few I have to try them the second time or maybe the third time. That maybe I can tell you most 1 or 2 of the recipes. But other than that, I'm blessed. I think it just comes to us naturally as women. We just know the exact amount of spice or the right amount of salt or the right amount of whatever. So Alhamdulillah, that was not really challenging for me.
Okay. So Jamila, you know, with having these books, and if I think back of what you've just said, it comes very naturally, it occurs naturally to us as women, where I think back in the day, how many women actually followed a recipe book? You could just leave ingredients. Many of the older ladies would tell you they never measured. They would just put in whatever they thought was right, and food always tasted good, you know. So would you think that in where we are today, with so many of our young girls being more career driven, maybe there was a dire need for recipe books? I mean, do women still have it in them where it naturally occurs to them where I need to have a little extra salt or a little less salt or so forth?
I think that one, it's completely changed from the old days, from our granny's time and from our time. The youngsters today, I think they're too busy with their career and stuff, so there's no time for the kitchen. And it's not like us when we were like 10 and 11, moms got us into the kitchen. Now there's no time.
Okay.
There's loads of homework, there's loads of madrasa work, there's assignments. So there's no time for them to get into the kitchen. So alhamdulillah, these are the perfect books for the youngsters. Because I've got lots of feedback coming from even as young as 8-year-olds that are using the books without any adult supervision. And they are producing excellent results, alhamdulillah.
So we'll take a quick ad break, and when back we'll get Jamila to share those recipes with us, or be able to guide us as to which ones are the quickest and the easiest, or the ones that you've enjoyed the most. So after the ad break we'll be chatting more to Jamila Sayed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Modern and Modest. And our show today is based on Jamila Sayed's flop-proof recipes, and she shares with us 4 volumes of her books, and with each volume there seems to be a bit of a theme, where we have one for Ramadan, we have one for those beginners that are just starting to get into the kitchen, where it's very light snacks that you can put together, and we've got volume 3, which would be your traditional food, and of course volume 4, which would be my favorite, having all your Eid recipes and so forth. So Jamila, just before the ad break, we chatted about how successful your books have been due to the fact that they flop-proof, they such easy to follow recipes, where you mentioned that there was an 8-year-old that's been trying your recipes and you've had amazing feedback. So I think it's rather important for our viewers as well to know that your little ones can be trusted in the kitchen following your recipes, because you tend to keep them very simple. Maybe tell us more about that. Which are the recipes that you feel would be best suited to people that have no clue about cooking, or your little ones that want to start experimenting in the kitchen?
I think the volume 1 has more very simple recipes. Although in all the books the recipes are simple, but if you find something like for a child, the baking is also very easy. There was a red velvet cake that's in volume 1, and that was the thing that the 8-year-old tried.
Wow, okay.
And that was the easy, quick and easy recipe that you could put together. We've got also volume 2, where there's very simple, like a milkshake for an example. If you give the kid a blender, they can put the milkshake together.
Okay.
Even the biscuits were quite simple. They will just need an adult to help them, maybe to pipe it or to cut it out into shapes. But I would say all the books have simple recipes, which is very easy to follow.
If the recipes are simple and they flop-proof, they tend to boost your confidence, even being a little one experimenting in the kitchen. And I guess it's a nice way of getting them involved from a younger age, because each one is busy with either work or you've got a few kids to attend to. So it would help a mum also having to, where your child is a little bit more independent of you, where you can put something together that you'd want to have without having to go to mum or dad to say that you need to put this together for me. So with regards to volume 1, we mentioned that would be the easiest book for just about anyone to start out with. But what appealed to me was your volume 2. Now we know that Ramadan is just a few months away, and you speak about the different savories that you have and milkshakes. Tell us about the milkshake options, because it's always nice to have that variety. Every evening you're looking forward to something new, especially with our men that have a full day, and when they come home, usually the saying is a hungry man is an angry man. So maybe if you could give him that variety, it sets a mood at home, or it just gives it a more pleasant environment to come home to. So let's talk about the different things you can do in Ramadan, where you can keep your meals interesting.
That's where the volume 2 comes in. Alhamdulillah, volume 2 has got most of the recipes that you would make in Ramadan. For starters, we've got soups. If we're having a cold Ramadan, we're going to enjoy the soups. We've got halim as well.
Nice.
So it's a very simple and quick recipe, which is very popular in my family. Everybody waits for my halim in Ramadan.
Okay.
Then we've got some sweet savories. Sweets like the drop donuts, the khajuras, which we would love to have at our sehri time. So that's also very popular. The drop donuts are extremely popular, and the khajuras are very popular.
So now we know in Ramadan we want to dedicate most of our time to our ibadah. Yes, cooking a meal for your family is a form of ibadah, but we don't want something that's going to be taking up so much of our time. So are these recipes quick and easy, where can I decide I want to make drop donuts at the time of suhoor, and it's not going to take me so much of time?
Absolutely, 100%. The recipes are all very simple and very quick to put together, so that's what people love about it.
All right.
So it's all quick and easy. And as we were saying, the desserts also perfect for after Taraweeh. We've got a range of different desserts in all the different books actually. We've got very simple desserts which you can whip up in the morning, put it in the fridge, it's ready for after Taraweeh. There's no need to get back into the kitchen. The milkshakes, we've got a variety of milkshakes in all the different books, which the people love, because then you're tired of the old-fashioned, the rose milkshake we have and the simple things that we have. We've got Oreo milkshake, we've got Rocky Road milkshake, we've got red velvet milkshake. So there's a huge variety, and that's making the Ramadan more exciting. The men look forward to coming after Taraweeh to have the lovely milkshakes. It's something different.
I think also for our little ones that are just starting to fast, you know, kids like sweet treats and they love milkshakes. You know, it's something for them to look forward to when they're opening their fast, or as we mentioned, coming back from Taraweeh.
Absolutely, which reminds me of a story. The last Ramadan, there was a lady from Joburg. Every single day she made a different milkshake and she posted them, and for the entire Ramadan it was just for her kid, because the kid fasted and he loved milkshake. So every day she made one milkshake from all the books and she covered them all in the entire Ramadan, and that was so heartwarming to see that this kid kept all her fast just for the milkshake. That was really so heartwarming.
So Jamila, we know that preparing a meal, you know, it tends to bring a lot of warmth and love in homes and in relationships and so forth. How have you found your recipe books have changed people's lives? I mean, being a young Muslimah or getting married and going into a new household, I'm sure it's rather daunting. They're nervous, they're not confident, they probably haven't ever been in the kitchen. So how has your books sort of brought about confidence in our young brides, or brought love and warmth into homes just by cooking up a meal and serving it at the table?
You know, I think for newlyweds and new brides, I think it's the perfect thing is to do is cook up a nice meal and put it in front of your mother-in-law or your husband. There's nothing more pleasing than that. And the compliments that you get will inspire you to do more. And alhamdulillah, I have lots of feedback coming from newlyweds that never knew how to cook. They never knew how much of salt to put in the food. And every day the husband's fussing that this is not right, there's less chili powder, there's less salt. And alhamdulillah, after she started using the books, she said it has enhanced her marriage, and she's so much happier now just by using following the recipes.
So it basically takes that stress away, where
100%.
You're nervous as to whether this dish turned out to be successful or did it flop or so forth.
I think also it's the feedback that we receive from the recipes, which I post up on social media, gives other people courage and inspires them to try this recipe. That, you know, it's like this lady tried it and it came out very nice, so let me give it a try. So I think that's what the feedback that I receive and that I post on social media also encourages others to try the recipe, and they see for themselves that the results are excellent.
Alhamdulillah. So Jamila, since inception of your books, 2016 to date, it has to be rather challenging being an entrepreneur and coming up with, alhamdulillah, 4 volumes, and I know that you've got your 5th volume to be released soon. What type of challenges did you experience during this period?
Alhamdulillah, from 2016 to now we have the 4 volumes, and I've enjoyed every bit of what I do. The only challenging part, I would say, is the tons of messages and the requests and queries that come through, which is really time consuming to see to each and every person's request and query. But alhamdulillah, I do try my best to respond to most of them. But other than that, I absolutely love what I do and I enjoy what I do.
Okay. So having launched 4 volumes and now releasing a 5th volume soon, inshallah, and you mentioned that you just used to take old recipes and you decided to post and put them together. But surely in 4, now going into 5 volumes, you have to have a fair amount of recipes. So I'm sure you would have added new recipes, or you would have experimented into coming up with your own and putting them together. Where do you get your inspiration from?
I think I'm also still one of those old-fashioned, you know, we still love the old-fashioned favorites. So what I do is I take the old recipes, I tweak it here and there, add different ingredients to it. Nowadays we're adding a lot of sauces, although I don't like too much of sauce. You add, like for an example, the sauce, or you just add different things to it and you create a whole new dish. So alhamdulillah, I've been always looking at old recipes, bringing that out and recreating it into a modern recipe. Also, most of my inspiration comes from social media.
Okay.
Ji.
Right. So what would you say, I know we speak about you being very, you like the old-fashioned recipes, and basically most of our roots, you know, we like spicy food or authentic Indian food, and those are the flavors that we bring in. But would you say that your recipe books, the theme or the taste or your signature is pretty much your old-fashioned recipes, your Indian spices? Is that more the type of recipes that you put together in your books?
Yes, I would say we still back to the basics with the old-fashioned spices, the old-fashioned recipes, which you just add different things to it and create a new recipe. But my volume 4 is my entire collection of my own. It's something that I have put together.
Okay.
I call it my themed creations. So for an example, if I'm having a get together at home, I would love to make a cake of a certain flavor or whatever. Like for an example, I would say we're making red velvet cake. Then I would do a dessert to match it. I would make a red velvet mousse to match.
Okay.
Then I would do a milkshake. That's when my red velvet milkshake comes in. Then I would find a biscuit to go with the theme. Okay. I would do a red velvet cookie or a red velvet melting moment. So yeah, the volume 4 is my entire, the entire book is my own creation. It's something that I've brought out on my own.
That's rather unusual. I mean, we've never heard of anyone that's actually come on our show and said that, you know what, if we're hosting a function or occasion, we like to keep it theme specific, which is such a nice idea. With most families hosting Eid, you can decide that I want to have a red velvet theme, or you could perhaps share other ideas that our viewers could look out for in your book. So when it comes to volume 4, do you put these together according to theme, or is it just something that you need to decide what type of theme you would like to offer your guests, and then you'd find them in any of your volumes?
The volume 4 has got all the themes all separated.
Great.
So you've got a red
Okay.
velvet theme, you've got a Rocky Road theme, you've got the tiramisu theme. So everything's there for you. You don't have to make all of them. If you choose you want to make a tiramisu cake and that's it, you don't have to do the other stuff.
Okay.
But with me, I love doing the entire theme when I'm entertaining. So I know the table's nice and full, everything's complementing each other. Another thing I love to do also is table decor.
Okay.
I would love to match my serviettes with the color scheme and use my underplates, and oh yeah.
So hopefully you'd be able to launch a book where you could have a book theme specific with the decor as well as the recipes.
Inshallah. I had a lot of requests for that.
So we're taking an ad break now, and when back we'll be chatting more to Jamila Sayed, and hopefully she'd be able to share a demo with us. I mean, it's quite warm now in Durban and out of Durban, and maybe you can share something that's refreshing, that's simple and refreshing, that our viewers can make back home.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Modern and Modest. And with us today we have Jamila Sayed from Cooking and Baking Creations. So Jamila, we mentioned earlier that it is pretty warm here in Durban, and I'm sure most of the country now, it's summer, it's warm, and we tend to look for things that are refreshing. When our kids come back from school or when our men come back home, the first thing you want to do is you want something that's cold and refreshing. So I'd like for you to demo one of your favorite drinks. Can you tell us more about what you think would be best for this type of climate, and what would we be sharing with our viewers today?
Okay, so today I will be sharing a refreshing cocktail punch, which is perfect for the heat today in Durban.
All right.
And yes, as you said, when kids come from school, the first thing they do is run to the fridge, what's
Yes.
cold to drink.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a perfect refreshing drink for summer.
Okay.
So we're going to be making our cocktail punch. For our cocktail punch, we're going to need a can of pineapples. We're going to need a can of peaches. We're going to also need a can of guavas, a can of fruit cocktail, and we have some granadilla pulp.
Okay, so your can of pineapple, I see that's crushed pineapple, correct?
You can use any one,
Any
it doesn't really
pineapple.
matter because
All
it's going to
right.
get blended anyway.
Okay, great.
We're going to also need some mango or orange mixed juice. We're going to need a liter of Sprite, some water. We're going to need some chopped strawberries, some sugar, some mint leaves, and a little bit of salt.
Okay.
So now we're good to go. Let's put together our cocktail. All we're going to do is we're going to blend our ingredients together. This is the simplest, easiest, most easiest drink that you can prepare in a little while. This would be perfect if you invited to a braai or a party that you want to take something over with. This is very quick and easy to whip up.
I think it's also unusual, and it gets our kids to have some type of fruit as opposed to just drinking fizzy drinks all the time. So you've got to blend it until it's completely blended.
We've got to blend it until it's nice and smooth so you don't get those lumpy bits when you're drinking. We're going to throw all this into a huge 5-liter container. This recipe makes about 5 liters.
Okay.
We're going to now throw in our guavas. Since the blender is small, so we just have to do batch by batch.
Okay. Otherwise, you can whip everything together in one blender.
If you have a big blender, yeah. We're going to add our sugar to this. We've got 1 cup of sugar here. Be sure that it's blended nice and smooth so you don't get any lumpy bits in the juice.
So pretty much you've pureed everything,
together, yeah.
Together.
We're now going to add in our granadilla pulp. I haven't blended this because it feels nice to taste the little bits of granadilla. We're now going to throw in a teaspoon of salt. We're going to throw in some mint leaves, some chopped strawberries. Here you can add in some grated apple if you need to, or whatever fruit you want to add in. You can chop up little pieces and add that in.
Okay.
Then we're going to add a cup of water because the mixture is too thick. Or you can add more water as you need. We're going to also add a cup of the concentrated juice.
So your concentrated juice is just your personal preference? You can go with whichever flavor you prefer?
You can go for whichever flavor, yeah, but I like the mango and orange.
Okay.
Now we're going to throw in a liter of Sprite and mix this very well. This is a perfect drink that you can freeze. You can freeze it at the stage before you add in the Sprite.
All right.
So when you want to serve it, you throw in the Sprite and it's nice and fizzy to drink. There we go. That's our quick and easy. This must be served nice and chilled. What I also do is I add this into ice cube trays, freeze them. So when you're serving them into your jug, you just throw in the ice cube trays and they're nice and cold.
Okay.
And they're not going to turn watery because you're going to get juice when it melts.
Okay.
So it's also perfect to freeze these.
Well, alhamdulillah, Jamila, I think we've managed to put together such a refreshing drink in just a matter of minutes. So when do you think this drink would be best served? I know we mentioned about when your kids get home or when your husband comes home, you've got something cold and refreshing, but it obviously gives us a fair amount. I mean, this recipe gave us, what, almost 5 liters of drink, and we can freeze. So ideas for what our viewers can do with this drink, where would they serve it? What would be most appropriate?
Okay, Noshina, so now we're going to get this into this jug. We had to use a big container just to get it mixed up and whipped up all well together, and they're well blended. Now we're going to pour them into our serving glasses, and this you can do a variety of things. You can make it look nice and pretty. You can add in an umbrella, you can add in a straw, you can use those little cocktail glasses, and it's perfect to serve as a welcome drink. There's many things you can do with these with this cocktail.
Okay, So with your spring cocktails, what other variants would you say you have in your recipe books? I mean, if you want to change it around a bit, are there any other cocktail recipes that are just as easy that we could share with our viewers? What other ideas do you have?
Okay, we've got volume 1, we've got a strawberry cocktail, which is very simple to put up as well. Then we've got a granadilla cocktail as well, which I used fresh granadilla from the garden to make that up, and that was really delicious.
All right.
Watermelon's in season now, and yeah, watermelon cooler is extremely tasty. There's another one that's the mango cooler. Yes, we also have lots of mangoes now, so the mango cooler is another winner.
So that would be in your volume 1.
The volume 1, between the volume 1 and volume 2.
Okay. You mentioned that you could actually take the cocktail and you could freeze them in little ice cubes. Also an idea, maybe you could, for those that don't take to the taste of water, we know how important it is for us to be drinking a few glasses of water a day, but maybe you can add these ice cubes to a glass of water. Would that work?
That's absolutely refreshing. I can already taste it, which we'll all, I think we enjoy flavored water more than the plain water.
Yes.
So yes, perfect. You can do that as well. That's a perfect flavored water.
All right.
Simple and easy.
So, you know, we know that your volumes 1 up until volume 2, you obviously shared quite a few varieties of cocktails. We speak about savories, we speak about authentic Indian food, which is very much a South African, I think our South African Indians have a similar taste. We know that your books have done exceptionally well and they're now international. What has been the feedback thus far? I mean, have they taken to authentic South African Indian flavored food? What is the feedback been?
Surprisingly, the books are doing so well in the UK, Canada, Dubai, India, and I look at myself and I think, oh my word, these people have such different taste buds, but they are taking a liking to the recipes that I've produced. And alhamdulillah, that's absolutely amazing. There's a lady that always messages me from the UK, and everything she makes, she always must send me the picture, and she say her family is so excited to try this dish. Before she can even put it on the table, she sent me the picture to say she's so excited she did this today, and then she said everybody enjoyed it.
People out of the country, it also feels like they're getting a bit of South African flavor into their homes, whether you're in the UK or you're in Canada or the UAE. So alhamdulillah, that's been a rather great accomplishment for you. But let's chat about the other WOW award that you've won recently. How did that feel, and share with our viewers, what was that all about?
I will never forget that day when I received that award. I actually felt like a child again. It was so exciting because it came to me as a total surprise to receive the Woman of Wonder award. That was already in 2017. Okay. 2016, we launched volume 1. In 2017, I was awarded the Woman of Wonder award. And alhamdulillah, I think receiving that award actually has inspired me to always bring out the best in me.
Do you plan on one day maybe visiting these countries where your books are placed, you know, maybe doing a sign off with your volumes? I'm sure people would want to meet the author behind the books of Cooking and Baking Creations.
Inshallah, one day I've got lots of requests. Everybody's all over that. Please come to our town. Please come and host a meet and greet in our town. I haven't thought about it yet, but inshallah one day maybe, yeah, I would love to meet my fans overseas, especially. Okay. Although we did have a few meets and greets between Durban and Joburg, and it was actually very interesting and very exciting to meet my friends and followers and interact with them and learn more about them. But yes, overseas definitely, inshallah, one day.
Inshallah. We'll break for an ad, and when we get back, Jamila, I know we've done a very refreshing cocktail, but maybe you can share something like a dessert or a quick and easy dish that our viewers can take back home
inshallah
with them. Okay, so after the ad break, we'll be joined back with Jamila Sayed from Cooking and Baking Creations, and she'd be willing to share one of her favorite, what are we doing, a dessert?
We're doing a dessert. We're doing a dessert.
A dessert. So please stay tuned and get your pens and notepads out to take this amazing recipe down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Marjan and Majest, and with me today we have Jamila Sayed from Cooking and Baking Creations. So Jamila, just before our ad, you shared a very refreshing cocktail recipe with us, and we mentioned that we'd want you to share more with our viewers. So can you maybe tell us what it is that we're going to be preparing here today?
Okay, so this one's for all those that have a sweet tooth. We've got a lovely granadilla delight that we're going to be putting together. I already have some fresh cream, a cup of fresh cream that I've worked up until soft peaks. The trick for getting a perfectly whipped fresh cream would be your beaters, the blades of your beater and the bowl, put it into the freezer. Leave it for a little while, let it get nice and cold. That makes whipping much more easier.
All right.
Okay, so here we have our fresh cream that's whipped into soft peaks. We're now going to whip up the Nestle cream, because that tends to get lumpy if you don't whip it first before adding your other stuff in. We're going to beat this slightly. We're now going to add in a can of condensed milk. Using a silicone spatula is easy to get all the little bits that's stuck at the bottom and on the sides. So we're not wasting anything. Now we're going to add in a cup of granadilla flavored yogurt.
So just a cup.
Just a cup.
Okay.
This would be a cup almost. We're going to give this a quick whip. Just so everything gets blended well together. We're now going to fold in the fresh cream that's already whipped.
Okay.
This is the tricky part. Remember not to overbeat, over mix when adding the fresh cream, as the mixture will turn runny.
Okay.
So give it a nice fold lightly with light hands.
Just to maintain the creamy texture.
Yeah, just to maintain and just to ensure that everything's well blended together. At this stage we can add in the granadilla pulp. If you're using fresh granadilla, if you've got in your garden, what I do is I scoop the pulp off, add in some sugar, allow that to soak a bit so it's not so sour. But for this we didn't add sugar because this one's sweet enough.
You can just add that in.
We're going to whip this quickly and into a nice smooth creamy texture. Remember the secret again, do not mix vigorously, fold lightly. Do not even use the blender because the blender will turn the mixture runny. Can you see that?
Due to the fresh cream, right?
Due to the fresh cream, yeah. Can you see it's whipped nice?
So you're basically just folding the cream in.
Just fold the cream in until it's well combined. We see that's nice and combined properly. So now we're ready to serve it into our lovely dessert bowls. And this can be served nice and chilled. Yeah, so all those that have a sweet tooth, this one's perfect for you. And how easy was this to put together?
So we call this is the granadilla delight. So what happens if an individual might not take to granadilla? You can change to a strawberry yogurt and chopped up strawberries.
That's an excellent question, because I've got the exact same recipe in a strawberry delight.
All right.
I think that's in volume 1. All you do is add a strawberry flavored yogurt, and you would add in chopped strawberries if you like, and there we go, we've got a strawberry delight.
So you do have the option of just tweaking the recipe.
And I've also used this recipe to add in some custard, and it was very tasty. So you can adjust it to whatever your preferences are according to what you like.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our granadilla delight all ready and whipped up. We're now ready to plate. I would normally put this mixture into a piping bag, and then pipe it into my dessert cups if the cups are tiny like this. Okay, Noshina, so we almost ready to serve. Let's do the last bit of our garnish. I would normally also put some granadilla pulp over. You can also use the fresh cream in the can. You can squeeze that over, drizzle your granadilla pulp over, and then put on your mint leaves just to make it look more pretty. Today, because we're here, so we're just doing a simple quick version of it. Another tip also would be to allow the mixture to stand in the fridge for a while before piping it into your dessert bowls. So the mixture thickens up and it's easier to pipe.
Okay, and I suppose that with piping it sort of holds what you're trying to create using a piping bag
100%.
as well. Okay. So that was Jamila Sayed from Cooking and Baking Creations. That was a very easy recipe to whip up if you have unexpected guests at home. What's great about her recipes is that it's usually the essentials that we keep at home. So at any time you can put together a spring cocktail or a dessert. You don't have to necessarily be going out and looking for specific ingredients that you don't keep on a day-to-day basis at home. So Jamila, alhamdulillah, you've been rather successful. You know, you have this mind of an entrepreneur, but we know that this didn't originally start out this way for you. Tell us more about your background. I know we know that you've been in business and alhamdulillah you're married and you've got 3 little ones, but you got married very young and you only completed school up until grade 6, and at that time, in all your time, I don't think you've ever thought that you could be this successful without having that education or having a degree necessarily to be where you are today.
Absolutely. I never thought one day I would do what I'm doing today, but alhamdulillah, I think with du'as, with dedication, with being very strong-minded, strong willpower, you can do what you want to do. So I would say to everybody, you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be somebody to do something in life. You can be an ordinary person and turn out into somebody that benefits other people.
Sure.
So I would say strong-minded, willpower, lots of du'as, lots of dedication, hard work, and inshallah you will achieve your goals.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, Jamila, alhamdulillah, we know that we would get nowhere if it weren't for du'as of people that are close to us. And I think in order to get to where you are today, we need a very strong support system at home. Talk to us more about that. Who's been your mentor, or who's encouraged you, or perhaps recognized the skill and motivated you to do what you're doing right now?
Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with so many wonderful people that support me, and so many people that make dua for me and appreciate what I do. Firstly, I would thank my husband for always being by my side. Then I've got wonderful kids, my daughter Aisha. She is the backbone to whatever I do. Aisha is always there for whatever I need help. Whenever I need help, Aisha is there for me. And there's so many people. I've got friends that are quite elderly and they've always making dua for me. And I've got a lot of friends overseas. I can't even explain the amount of du'as that I'm blessed with daily. People, out of the blue, somebody just messaged to say, you know what, I wish you all the best. I wish you success. I wish you grow from strength. And I actually sit and cry sometimes thinking that, oh my word, this person took the time to just make a dua, which we take for granted. Like sometimes I would say, oh, I'm just posting a recipe and you know, whoever sees it, sees it. But the people really appreciate that. And the fact that they take the time to message, to say thank you for what you do, it really means a lot to me. And alhamdulillah, I think it's with all the du'as, with all the blessings, most importantly, my dad's du'as. I know my dad is making dua at this very moment for me because I told him how nervous I was and whatnot. Right. But alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with a lot of du'as. And du'as is what changes your taqdeer. So yes. Definitely. And also if you make a dua for another person, Allah Ta'ala grants you the same. So du'as really goes a long way, and this is where I've come only with du'as, alhamdulillah. I'm blessed, and I really appreciate that everybody supports what I do and everybody loves what I do, and they send the positive feedback. So yes, shukran to everyone that helped me along this journey.
Okay, so Jamila, if viewers want to get in touch with you or want to acquire any of your books, how would we reach out to you?
The books are widely available in most butchers, in most spice shops, and I've got a contact number. I don't know if you want to leave a contact number that people can contact me for where they can get the books. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Cooking and Baking Creations by Jamila Sayed, or Instagram, it's also Cooking and Baking Creations.
Okay, and just before we leave, I know that we mentioned earlier that you are busy preparing volume 5. Any idea when you'd be ready to launch that book?
Gee, I'm very excited to launch our new edition to our collection, Volume 5. We're looking for before Ramadan, inshallah.
Okay, so we can definitely look forward to some new exciting recipes.
Some new exciting recipes. We're going to have some recipes in for Eid as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a must-have, just like the other books. So look forward to the launch details, inshallah.
All right. Well, alhamdulillah, Jamila, thank you so much for joining us on Modern and Modest today and sharing those lovely recipes and just being such an inspiration to both young and old viewers, where it's never too late to identify your talent and to make something out of it.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure to be on your show. Jazakallah for giving me the opportunity, and I hope to have inspired many people out there.
Inshallah. So Jamila Sayed's been very kind, very generous, where we would be giving away a full set of cooking and baking creations. That's volume 1 right up to volume 4. So should you like to enter this competition, and I'm sure you'd love to enter the competition, then please look out for the post on ITV's social media pages. That would be on Facebook and Instagram as ITV Networks SA. Well, until next week, from myself, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.